Iran sent a message to Israel stressing that it does not want further escalation in the Hamas-Israel war, but that it will have to intervene if the Israeli operation in Gaza continues. The fighting between Hamas and Israel will turn into a regional war if Iran gets involved either directly or indirectly, such as through a militant group in Syria, or by backing any Hezbollah decision to fully join the fighting. Iran's message, sent to Israel through the UN, comes as the Biden administration has been trying to deter Iran and Lebanon-backed Hezbollah, supported by Iran, from joining the war. The U.S. has sent an aircraft carrier group and fighter jets to the region. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian met with UN envoy to the Middle East Tor Wennesland in Beirut. Wennesland urged Amir Abdullahian to help prevent a spillover of the conflict in Gaza and Israel to the wider region in the Middle East. The Iranian foreign minister said that Iran doesn't want the conflict to turn into a regional war and wants to try to help with the release of civilians who are being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza. But Amir Abdullahian stressed that Iran has its red lines. He said that if the Israeli military operation continues, and especially if Israel follows through on its promise of a ground offensive in Gaza, Iran will have to respond. Wennesland called Israeli National Security Advisor Zachi Hanegbi and other officials and conveyed Iran's message. Wennesland met with Amir Abdullahian, discussing diplomatic efforts to release hostages, de-escalate and prevent a spillover of the conflict to the wider region. Amir Abdullahian, who earlier met with Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, said that Israel must stop the crimes against civilians in Gaza because it might be too late in a few hours. "I know about the scenarios that Hezbollah has put in place," Amir Abdullahian said. "Any step the resistance will take will cause a huge earthquake for Israel." The latest fighting between Hamas and Israel began earlier this month. Israel has continued its heavy bombardment of the Gaza Strip after Hamas's attack on Israel. Violence also has been escalating along the Israel-Lebanon border and in the occupied West Bank. Syria and Israel have exchanged shelling, the Israel Defense Forces said, after a number of mortars were launched toward northern Israel from Syria, falling in an open area. Israel responded with artillery strikes. After Hamas's incursion, Israel and Hezbollah, an ally to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in his country's civil war, exchanged fire near Lebanon's border, fueling fears of escalation. The U.S. said it sent an aircraft carrier to the eastern Mediterranean Sea specifically as a deterrent to warn Israel's enemies about broadening the scope of the war. But mortar attacks from Syria are widely viewed as symbolic. They rarely cause damage. Syria and Israel have been in conflict for more than half a century, and these routine attacks are a continuation of that conflict, rather than an escalation. Attacks from Syria typically follow flare-ups and unrest inside Israel and mostly fall in open fields. After Israeli police raids on one of Islam's holiest sites in April, the IDF said 6 rockets were fired from Syria, 3 crossing into Israeli territory. Syria considers Israel an enemy, and the countries have been in a state of war since Israel was established 1948. Assad this year alleged that Israeli strikes are launched under the pretext of Iranian presence, but target the Syrian army and will continue as long as the two are enemies. Israel rarely offers details on specific operations, but has confirmed striking Iranian positions in the past, as well as Syrian chemical weapons facilities. Iran has a heavy military presence in various parts of the country. Syria, a close military and political ally of Iran's, has become increasingly dependent on Iranian imports, credit lines, and military support. Iran has taken advantage of the disarray in Syria since its civil war broke out in 2011, building up its military presence and capacity, prompting Israel to strike at Iranian positions. Syria is a strategic lifeline for Iran. It provides a land corridor from Iraq east of Syria to Lebanon in its southwest. Attacks on U.S. troops have been blamed by Biden administration officials on militias trained and armed by Tehran. Strikes that Syria has attributed to Israel have also struck the Damascus airport, putting it out of service. The Israeli army has also acknowledged targeting observation posts, intelligence collection systems, anti-aircraft artillery facilities, and a command and control center belonging to the Syrian military. Hezbollah, for its part, has served as a bulwark for Assad, helping the Syrian leader prevail over rebel forces since at least 2013. Hezbollah, a powerful armed group backed by Iran, said it had launched guided rockets and artillery onto 3 posts in Shabaa Farms in solidarity with the Palestinian people. Shabaa Farms, which is claimed by Lebanon, was captured by Israel in the 1967 Six-Day War. On the path to liberate the remaining part of our occupied Lebanese land, and in solidarity with the victorious Palestinian resistance and the steadfast Palestinian people, the groups of the martyred commander Haj Imad Moghniyeh in the Islamic resistance carried out an attack, targeting 3 Zionist occupation sites in the occupied Lebanese Shabaa Farms region, Hezbollah said in a statement. The Israeli military said it fired artillery into an area of Lebanon from where cross-border mortar fire was launched. Israel's military said one of its drones struck a Hezbollah post in the area of Hardov, an area in Shabaa Farms. Israel said its forces are now attacking with artillery fire the area in Lebanon from where the shooting was carried out a few minutes ago into Israeli territory. The Israeli forces said they were prepared for all scenarios and will continue to protect the security of the residents of the State of Israel. Tel Aviv has held the Shabaa Farms, a 39 square kilometer, 15 square mile patch of land, since 1967. Both Syria and Lebanon claim the Shabaa Farms are Lebanese. Hezbollah, which effectively controls southern Lebanon, said it was in direct contact with leaders of Palestinian resistance groups. The group said it saw Palestinian attacks on Israel as a decisive response to Israel's continued occupation and a message to those seeking normalization with Israel. More than 1,300 Israelis and 2,670 Palestinians have been killed, thousands have been injured, and hundreds of thousands have been displaced since the latest fighting between Israel and Hamas began after the militant group's attack. Hamas is believed to be holding about 150 hostages in Gaza. Meanwhile, talk of normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia will be put on hold. The kingdom issued a boilerplate statement calling for restraint, while emphasizing that it had warned that the continued occupation was a dangerous, explosive situation. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe for more videos.
כדי שאיש לא יטעה ויעשה את הטעות להצטרף למלחמה הזאת. אנחנו במלחמה, ומלחמה צריך לשמור על קור רוח. אני קורא לכל אזרחי ישראל להתאחד כדי להשיג את היעד העליון שלנו, ניצחון במלחמה.